This time I got a mini system in. It's a Sony. It has a CD player, a mini disc player, and an AM/FM stereo radio. And the complaint on this one is the CD player doesn't work, and the line input has a problem. This one here requires a little bit of extra hardware to help it work because, well, it's not from these parts. It won't plug in to our outlet, as you will see. Check this one out. So I got this little Sony mini hi-fi component system, CD player, mini disc, shipped in to have a look at it. There's only one small problem. I'm going to need a bigger plug. Yep, this is a Europe model, and fortunately the fellow that shipped this in also sent me this gadget to plug it into. See, that'll go in like this. I think it goes in like this. I think that goes in like that, but we still have this problem of, well, what does this do? What the? Okay, that's got that plug on there. Ooh, it's got that plug on it. But it also should have that plug. So that plug can plug into a transformer. And, well, he sent me a little transformer. He sent me this. I have one, though. I have a universal transformer. I think mine might even be better than this. This one weighs a ton. It's a little magnetic transformer. But, yeah, you can plug that in like that and have that hanging out of the plug. That really looks attractive, doesn't it? Let's take a look at my transformer that I have. How would you rather power this thing? Through this ridiculous, it doesn't even look safe, or just plug it in like that? This one will do 110 to 2, or 120 to 240, 117 to 230. Or you can flip it the other way, and then it'll do 120 down to, or 240. You need to have one of these, I guess. You need a plug adapter, like that, because this is a transformer as well, right? This one can switch either way. This one can do 240 down to 120, or 120 up to 240. I use this with my, well, I got a couple things. You see, input 200 to 240, 50, 60, and 100 to 120 is the output, or input 100 to 120, output 200 to 240. So at 120 it's 240 out, 115 it's 230. Anyway, I'm going to use that, not this thing. This thing looks like it's a hazard just looking at it. Put that back in the box. We'll power it up with my idea. This almost looks like there's a plug that comes out of here. Is this an adapter that this is in? Almost looks like this is an adapter here that's in. Let's just take a look at this. I think this unscrews. I know it unscrews. I just have to find a screwdriver for this. It looks like there's a plug in there. Is that another plug that just plugs into this cable? Like, is this plug even necessary? Or is this just an adapter? I guess we'll find out. Oh, look at that. This is just a fuse. Another plug adapter. So that can be thrown away. This has got a fuse in it. There'll be fusing in here. That can be thrown away. And the guy that owns this thing, you see, he just learned something, because he can plug that in directly and get rid of using this and that. And for that matter, I could plug this directly into that. Just like that. I think that looks a little safer, so maybe we'll do that. I'll use his transformer and just plug that in just like that, and he won't have to deal with this ridiculous contraption of adapters. Alright, okay. I will put my adapter back. I use this for charging my my cordless screwdriver that I've got. That's what this, and my Pi. I have a Pi tube radio, a 240 volt tube radio. So I bought this for like $12, And it's nice because it fits our plugs, and then I can plug anything in there. Any of the types of plugs. As I say, I can plug in that type, and I can plug in this type, and I can even plug in that type. Put this on the 240, plug that into there, and you'd have 480 volts. Well, until this one smoked. And I'm sure it would. This one that was supplied with it is only a 50 watt. Does this draw more than 50 watts? I bet it doesn't. Well, it might. What does it draw here? 70 watts. So cranking this thing up, you're probably going to overheat this transformer, because this can draw a little more power than this one's capable of putting out. But that's beside the point. We'll use it. These pins don't stay in very well either, do they? So I'll plug this into my power cord here and plug that in, and we see that this is lighting up and it's got juice. So let's just see what is the problem with it. I'll just read his notes, the notes that came with this. It says Sony 230 volts AC voltage converter and plug adapter enclosed. Well, we don't need the plug adapter. That's, as I just showed you, I'll plug straight in. CD tray opens and closes at will, does not spin, and the line in ports only play on one channel. That's what it says. So let's see. Let's open the CD mechanism. Let's turn it on first of all. I hear a belt spinning. Yeah. It doesn't even open at this point. I hear a broken belt. How about Minidisc? Doesn't say anything about Minidisc. Shall I assume that it works? Well, I guess we need to tackle the problem on this unit first. What's we got here? What's this thing look like inside? Is this going to be easy to work on, or is this going to be a tough one? I see dust bunnies. Guaranteed it won't be as tough to work on as that flat one that I've got. It's got the Minidisc. That silver one, you know, that big silver one that was a really super expensive machine when it was new. And I got it for like a song. Literally a song. In fact, I didn't have to pay anything for it. It was just the guy that owned it said, "Here, I paid $2,200 for this, but I don't want it, so you can have it." That's okay, thanks. Alright, what do we got here? We got some grounding straps here. Since when was a red wire a ground wire? That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Okay, we'll just put this thing out of its misery and unplug it. I figure out how to get to this where the belt is on this thing. That opens up quite easily. Actually, you know what? It feels like there's a belt on there. So what's buzzing? Is it the Minidisc that's buzzing? Well, I guess it is this belt. It's just that it wasn't latched in place. Alright. I think if I pop this off, then I can pull the face off of it and get to the where the belt is. Maybe. Might be able to do one better than that. You see, the belt is visible right down through here. You can see it. So I might be able just to snag that belt and see if that's what's slipping first of all. Looks like it is, but we'll see. But maybe it'll just snag that belt and change it without even having to take the thing apart, and that would be really nice if I could do that. That's exactly what's happening. The belt is slipping, and I think I can probably grab this belt right through the front here without having to do much other than reach in there and grab it. I'm cursing this reflections off this. It's like a mirror shining my lights right back into my face where I'm trying to see what I'm doing. See if I can grab the belt without having to take it all apart. Belt is turned to mush, but there's the belt. Now, getting the new belt in might not be quite as easy as getting the old belt out, but as you can see, this one here is gone. Well, it's gone kind of stretchy. So I gotta find out if I got one for it first. I think I might have one right here that will fit the bill. Look at that. Look at that. I just happen to have one sitting right next to me. Got a couple of them sitting right next to me here. Let's see which one of these is going to be the best one. I got 3 belts sitting here. I think this one here is probably the closest to the right size. So now the fun begins, because I know that putting this one back in is not going to be quite as easy as taking it out. If I was playing the game Operation I Killed the Patient, but getting this one fished back in might be a little more of a challenge, especially with the bloody reflections. Things like looking into a freaking mirror. If I pull the mini disc off the top here, it might be a little easier to reach. It's just, yeah, if I pull this mini disc off the top, it might be a little easier to reach the what I need to get to. Just see what holds this in place. There's a bracket. There's a screw back here. I was thinking about pulling the front panel off too. That might work. If I undo the screws on the front panel and take out this screw on the back for the mini disc, this whole unit should just pop forward. We'll undo these grounds that were put on by a guy that was colorblind. What? You don't think that's funny? I'm picking on the guy that built it for being colorblind because he put a red wire in for ground. Actually, it should be a green wire, but if you want to split hairs, ground wires are always green. They're never red. Okay, now this should lift off. Just like that. There's only 2 of them. Undo that one and undo this one over here. And now this whole front will just lift out of the way. Alright, now I can see what I'm doing. There's the belt. Right there. I've been car shopping, not for myself, for my son. And you gotta really be careful when you read ads, because sellers are not always truthful. Like, I responded to one ad which sounded good, sounded really good, and then I read the ad a little closer, and it said, how was it worded? When we changed the oil, there was little sparkles and little metal shavings in the oil. Yeah, I think I'll be avoiding that one, because Uncle Rodney will be making a quick exit, I think, from that one when the connecting rods let go and the engine comes apart. All right, that's the belt. Belt has been replaced. Look at all the dust in here. I'm going to go get my my air gun. We'll blow the dust out of here. There's all kinds of dust in this, and we'll lubricate the mechanism because, well, it just looks like it needs it. So, all right, say goodbye to the dust bunnies. Oh damn! All the screws just flew off the bench. Might as well blow the dust out of this while I'm at it. All right, so let's put some grease in here. Grease the rails. Other things I've been seeing in these car ads that people have been advertising, it's like engine overheats. I think that's the problem. Or engine seized. Of course, the one I really like is the one I went to take out for a test drive. Got in the car, drove in it, and then the guy says, oh, by the way, it only works in first gear. After I drove over there to try it out, it's like, are you kidding me? Like, you wasted my time, you prick. And we'll inspect the little plastic gear to see if it's cracked. I don't think it is. Or another one I went to go look at, and all the tires were flat. This one's got the angled cut gears, which were not as prone to cracking as the straight cut gears. And I'll show you guys what I'm talking about in a minute here once I get this thing out of the way. Get that all the way down there. These aren't cheap either. The one with the seized engine. A little more grease on the rail here. They're asking $4,500 for a car with a seized engine. Some grease on the bottom here. It'll work its way in eventually. Oops, don't want that. All right, so what I was referring to when I'm talking about straight gears versus angled gears is the motor. So that you guys can't see. So the original design, this little white gear down here on the end of the motor shaft, they had gears that the teeth were cut perpendicular straight. This one, you can see these ones are at an angle. And the reason that they did that was because the angled gears are stronger. What happened on these is this plastic quite often would crack, would split, and it would split right between the teeth, and then it would stick. So what would happen is you're playing a CD and it's playing along, the motor's trying to move the pickup, but it's stuck on the crack. And then it keeps putting more power to it, and then eventually it jumps forward and the whole laser block slips and your music skips forward. That was a real common problem that they had. So they solved that problem by putting in angled gears. Then they didn't have that same issue that we had before. Put the disc top back on, find the screws that blew all over the bench, and use the large screwdriver to put them back in because it's got the #1 Phillips bit. It's funny, you know, I can put whatever bit I want on these screwdrivers. I bought this Pick Quick, and I usually end up using this one just because it's more comfortable. So I keep the #2 bit on that one. This one here ends up with the #1 bit. And you can see it doesn't get used that much because it's gone rusty. Look at that. Goes back together. Real simple. All right. Will it open? Of course it will open. The bigger question is that will it play a CD? We'll find out pretty quick. I don't think it's going to play a CD-RW, but you never know, it might. But how about a CDR? Okay, why is it not going all the way in? It's like it's not chucking the disc. Well, maybe that's because this wasn't snapped on right. But spinning. Will it play? It's playing. Excellent. Next track. What I want to know, will it play a CDRW? Some play and some don't. So will this one play it? Probably not. But this was made in the era of CDRWs. I mean, after all, it was made in Minidisc era. So will it play? Yep, it does play CDRWs. This was recorded from vinyl, incidentally. You can hear the clicks. I don't remember exactly when I made this recording, but it was a long time ago that I made this recording onto a CDRW, and I couldn't tell you what year it was, but it was well over 20 years ago for sure. Old CDRW 74, and I was using it for testing stuff at the time. So that's that. So this will play CDRW, which is pretty cool because I now have 2 CD recorders that will record CDRW, and I've got some CDRW discs that are 80 minutes now instead of the standard 74. But this disc here this is probably 30 years old. I don't remember when CDRW came out. I do have an original CDRW disc that is as old as the hills. It's an old HP it came with my HP drive. I had an HP. That's supposed to go down in volume and it's going up. Got to clean that switch. I had an HP CDRW drive way back when they first came out, and it came with one HP branded CDRW disc, single speed, and that disc still is functional. It can still be recorded on it, can still be erased. I've done recordings on it recently. But that gives you an idea of how long the longevity of CDRW was. It was a lot longer than really anybody ever thought. I mean, I hear people say, oh, CDRWs are good for 5 years. No, they're good for a lot more than 5 years. This one here is probably close to 30 years old, this one. And they last forever. Same with, I've got DVD RWs as well that are very, very old, and they play fine. I've got CDRW and DVD RW that have lasted longer than the cheap CDR media, right? There was good CDR media and there was cheap CDR media. The ones that were put out by Princo, for example, yeah, those ones there, they didn't tend to last very long. They failed fairly quickly. I think the reason this was hanging up the first time was I didn't have the nose cone stuffed on right for the for this CD tray. Now that's working. We need to check the auxiliary input, because apparently the line input is not working. Hopefully it's just a solder connection on that, and then we'll check out the Minidisc drive, and hopefully it's working. There was no complaint about that, so I'm assuming that that works. Okay, line input's working on the back. I'm assuming or the tape input, I should say. I'm assuming that he's referring to the line in on the front, which is a mini plug. Right. Oh yeah. It kicks in and out. All right, now I have to take this stupid thing apart yet again, because I gotta pull the face off it again to get to the jack. So we'll just unplug the power. Transformer's heating up. Not red hot, but it certainly is warm. I would imagine that little 50-watt transformer, if this thing was to be running and putting out a fair bit of power, this thing's going to overheat. But not my problem. Remove the front. I should have done this when I had it apart, but I wasn't thinking. When he said line input, I was thinking on the back. I wasn't thinking the one on the front. But I'm sure that there's probably connections on here that are cracked. Are they? Let's take a close look and see. Yeah, I do think so. Like a cracked connection on there. It looks like it is. Yeah. But I'll resolder the entire plug. I got a new solder sucker too, by the way. Let's show you what I got here. It's I was going to buy a solder pult, but they're just too expensive. I got a clone. We'll see how well this works. I'll try sucking some solder off here and then redo it. So just for fun. Let's just... that works pretty good. Works a lot better than that welder that I was using. Wow. Yeah. Works a lot better than this other piece of crap that I've been using for years. I've been using this piece of junk. Weller desoldering. Made in Sweden, that's why. This was probably made in China. I know the original that this is copied from is an American one, but when I bought this, this was $20 versus I don't know, 55 for the solder pult, which is what this one's our solda pult, which is what this one is scaled after. And as I say, it's got some pretty good vacuum. If you watch the little pin inside here that pops up, if I put my thumb over the end of it, it's actually pretty good. It's got pretty good suction. Anyway, let's reflow this. And we'll try it again. See if that fixed it. Alright, let's try the line input now. There we go. Excellent. So that's two things fixed. The line input's fixed, and the CD player is fixed. We'll try a Minidisc, and if that's working, then this one's all done. I wanted to play Name That Tune with you guys, but we have a small problem here. Remember I talked about this little transformer here, the 240 volt transformer, not having quite enough jam. Well, watch what happens if I give this thing any type of volume whatsoever. First of all, you can figure out this is Minidisc, obviously. Can you figure out who this is playing? can't play it very long because this is a recording. I'll give it away. It's from the Montreal Jazz Festival. Okay, an artist that played at the Montreal Jazz Festival in the 80s. And I don't want to let this thing play too long, but I'm going to crank this thing up here and watch what happens as soon as I give this thing any type of volume. This little transformer here that's powering this unit here just does not have enough juice, and it's going to shut down. Watch. Oops. We just killed it. Not enough power. We don't have the power, Captain. That's no good for this. It needs a bigger one. Did you figure out who that was from that little bit of music there? I'll skip ahead. Then they can't. The copyright people won't catch it. The Minidisc is working. I grabbed a few of them here just to try it out, and it's working okay. I can't find my Music Bakery disc. I believe the last little mini disc that I looked at for this particular customer was the one that had the broken right head, was foobar on it, and I went to try to make a little short recording on the end, and when I ejected it, it tried to rewrite the table of contents, and then it ended up erasing the table of contents. And then my disc was then blank. I don't know if I recorded it again or not. I was looking for it, couldn't find it, but the Minidisc works on this unit, which is really all that matters. There was no complaint for recording on the unit. Just running that for a few minutes got this thing actually quite warm. It's actually quite hot. Yeah, this transformer definitely is not one that the fellow that owns this is going to want to use with it. That's for sure, because this is drawing way too much power. Look at the size of the beefy transformer in here compared to this little thing. Right, so this is not going to cut it as far as operating this unit. This is going to burn out, and it's not going to last very long. I only ran this thing for a couple of minutes. Like, this has been turned on idle for maybe half an hour, but I actually only ran music through it for a few minutes, and the core of this transformer is actually quite hot. You know, I'm going to say this is probably around 150 degrees Fahrenheit. I can barely hang on to it. So that is one that he's going to have to replace with something a little more powerful, like the one that I have. Mine is a 100-watt transformer, and it would not have any problem powering this up, because this unit only draws 70. Anyway, I want to throw this together and get this out of here. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.